You know what led me to it was actually MTV.
Okay. That is so cool.
I was really addicted to watching music videos on MTV when I was a teenager. I liked, those music video directors who were then really big, like Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry and many more. My sisters and I, we made films as children already because my parents had an old, it was like a high-8 camera, the first one, and then later it was a mini DV camera, and we were just allowed to play with it. And we were editing on camera, so it was always like,
Wow.
we pressed start, and then to take when it was finished, we pressed stop, and then had to maybe we rewind it a little bit, and then here we have to continue for the next shot. And
Oh my God.
it was like a game that we did also with friends. When we had friends over, we made like random detective stories or whatever,
Cool.
we just wanted to make. Yeah. So at the beginning, I wanted to become a cinematographer, so I ended up wanting to become a director. I think with writing, the thing is, some people, they know they want to be a writer. And in my case, I did never have this feeling, and I still don't have it in that sense. But it was more like, in the beginning, it was more like a means to an end. Like I wanted to make films, and I didn't have any scripts available by somebody else. So I just had to do this. But I think also writing really is something that you can really pick up while doing. Like it actually makes sense to just start doing it, and then you learn and learn while you're doing it. It's the same for directing. It's better to just start doing it, and then
Yeah. Hi, baby.
Hello.
This is amazing. Importance of safety on set, that everyone feels seen, heard, and that every single one has someone to talk to. It's a lot of different characters coming together. It can be a lot of stress, even if everything is pre-planned.
I think, first of all, it's probably really important to be aware of one's own feelings and things that are going on. In my case, it's something that comes with becoming older.
How do I want to run my set? I wrote it down on the call sheet, and a safe set, everyone's is equal, and that we're doing the same thing, and we are collaborating and co-creating with each other. So everyone should be respected and should be treated kindly. Because it's like such a vulnerable thing, filmmaking, no? Everything can go wrong at any point. So we should at least strive to be kind and to take care of each other.
Example, right? So I mean, you have to really, actually, the solution would have probably been, but I didn't find it, like a key to lock the door.
Yeah.
So I didn't find it. So, and I thought, okay, I guess he will not find me, but he found me.
Welcome to Ambitchiously Intelligent. We are so glad to have you. And I'm going to introduce you, Johanna Lietha. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Yeah.
Thank you for sparing the time to have a talk with us. You're a director, producer, writer, photographer, and an actor. Am I missing something? No?
No.
That's a full list. Okay. At least for now. The first question I want to ask, you started with photography, and we saw your beautiful work online on your website. And what led you to filmmaking? Because of course it's an obvious choice, but we want to know all the details.
Yeah. You know what led me to it was actually MTV.
Okay. That is so cool.
I was really addicted to watching music videos on MTV when I was a teenager, and I wanted to make music videos myself, and I never made one in the end. But so that's why I started being more interested in movies as well, and filmmaking itself, and then it went down a different path, but.
Who was your
origin.
favorite musical artist growing up? Did you have one?
I mean, I liked, those directors, the music video directors who were then really big, like Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry and many more. So it was not necessarily about It was also about the music. I was listening at that time. I think I was actually still listening to rap, or maybe it was already some indie rock as well. No, it was rap still. But for music videos, I watched it all. I wasn't, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
picking. Nice.
Yeah.
But how did you start with filmmaking? What was the first step?
So the first step was, I think when I wanted to go to film school, I had to also submit my own projects and also a film. And I think, I mean, no, actually, my sisters and we made films as children already. That's probably the first step, because my parents had an old, it was like a high 8 camera, the first one, and then later it was a mini DV camera, and we were just allowed to play with it. So in the beginning, we started recording theater plays that we were performing, and then it became more like we were making films, and we were editing on camera. So it was always like,
Wow.
if we press start, and then to take when it was finished, we press stop, and then had to maybe we rewind it a little bit, and then here we have to continue for the next shot. And
Oh my God, how old were you?
like maybe between like 8 and 16, something or 15. I don't know. It was like a game that we did also with friends. When we had friends over, we made like random detective stories or whatever, like whatever we just wanted to make. Yeah. So that was the very beginning, I guess. And then I started, or I tried to make short films that were more like telling a proper story, or yeah. Yeah.
How come you never did a music video though?
Yeah, do we
Yeah,
need
because
to?
I was never like friends with musicians. I mean, later in my life, I became friends with musicians. But at that time, when I was so much into music videos, I had no musician friends. So there was not really like an opportunity. I mean, probably these days, when you like
We are manifesting it.
grow. Yeah. I don't know whether, I mean, I would probably do it. I would probably make it, but it's not like a dream of mine anymore in that sense.
Okay, so it isn't. It's not like something you need to
No,
like,
I don't need to fulfill this dream.
fulfill this dream. Like I thought I'm just going somewhere totally different. There was this doll, and it was called Cabbage Head doll, and it was from America. I don't know if you know it.
No.
And they
No.
smelled so good. And my friend had one, and I thought forever I needed to get one, even now as a grown up. And then I saw one the other day, and I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
I do not.
Yeah.
But okay. I was still confused with that one, but just say.
Yeah. Sure. I buy my kids' stuff that I never received. Like, here is a very important present for you. And actually it's for myself.
It's like,
And like we actually didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so cute.
Well, I guess it served its purpose. It led you down to the path of filmmaking
Totally.
and to the school, and you went to University of Arts London.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it a 3-year program?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you studied filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you specialize in any particular field, or was it everything, a little bit of everything?
We had in the beginning we were learning everything, and I wanted to become a cinematographer, so I focused on cinematography. And then throughout the course, I ended up wanting to become a director, and so I graduated as a director. But in general, in the beginning, it was everything that we had to kind of go through. I don't know how to say this. Yeah, but it made sense. It made sense. I think it's a good plan to see all the aspects and all the departments. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to ask you something, because I remember you telling us that you didn't really think about writing yourself. But now when you're talking about with your sister, like it sounds like you were creating their everything, right? So what I want to ask is, why am I asking you this? Because I'm terrified of writing. hey, putting myself out there, damn it. Have stories in my head, and then I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna do that. But because you said it, and then something changed, and you have now, I think, written every project. Am I right, that you have made almost, or at least co-written?
Yeah, it's true. I think with writing, the thing is, some people they know they want to be a writer, and they have this calling, and of course they have to follow it, if possible. And in my case, I did never have this feeling, and I still don't have it in that sense. But it was more like in the beginning, it was more like a means to an end. Like I wanted to make films, and I didn't have any scripts available by somebody else, so I just had to do this. But I think also writing really is something that you can really pick up while doing. Like it actually makes sense to just start doing it, and then you learn and learn while you're doing it. So there, even like I was totally not feeling like I was being a writer when I started writing, and I was like, no, I'm not a writer. And people were telling me, but I mean, you just wrote this. The writer.
That is called the writer.
So yeah, I just think, I mean, now I would say yes. And I also really enjoy it. I really, really like writing. But I don't think you have to like really know what you're doing when you start doing it. It's the same for directing. It's better to just start doing it and then, yeah.
Yeah, learn by doing. So when did you start writing? Was that after the school, or have you
Yeah,
been?
that was after graduating. And it was just for like it was actually just for like of course I've written some short stuff before, but it was mainly for Love Cut, my first feature, where I was writing it together and directing it together with my friend Iliana, and we so there I just and she had written more seriously before, and so I just jumped in and just yeah I think that was the first proper writing experience because before I really didn't know what I was doing when I was writing a short film. It was very intuitive and also a bit strange.
This is so challenging though, to begin with writing with a feature and also collaborating with another person who is more experienced. How was this experience? Did you feel that you found your voice? How did you find this creation with another person? Because this is something that I'm personally struggling with. I've been trying to co-write a project with someone, and you clash. You naturally, you develop some sort of zest for the thing, and you want it like, and it's not even about being like my way or her way. It's more like, how do we navigate it together, and we're still not really finding a common ground on this regard. How was it for you? I'm curious.
I mean, I think we talked a lot. I mean, first of all, we got along really well. I think that was an important first prerequisite. And then we talked a lot about what we are interested in and what kind of stories we would like to create. And then we found lots of like common ground. And when we started, we always talked like really a lot. So when it came to writing, it was very clear what the person who was actually doing the actual writing, what that person was going to write. Of course, it's not like in this exact words, but still for and when we had different opinions on things, we had always like a kind of rule that was like it's not about like our egos, it's about the thing that we're creating. And so we always ask, almost like we ask the thing that we're creating what it needs. Like,
What serves the story?
Pardon?
What serves the story?
Exactly, yeah. And then, of course, there is still things that are just a question of opinion and taste and whatever. And I think somehow we just found always solutions that we both liked, or both could agree with, or maybe one time one person was more like, okay, well, let's just do it like this, it's okay. And then maybe the other person next time said, okay, it's okay. Yeah.
But you love, it's not the only project that you did in collaboration. You love
It's the
writing together with someone.
No, it's the only, until now, it's
Oh,
the
it's the
only project.
okay.
I think it has pros and cons. Like it can also, like if I look back on the amount of time that it took us to actually develop the screenplay, I think maybe with the hierarchy, we could have been much faster. Because then some things would have just gone more like into one direction. But then at the same time, we could just be so creative together because we could bounce things off each other all the time. And we had such a fun time. Like we were really having a really fun time because we shared like the same humor. So it was just also really giving us a lot of inspiration and energy to work together. So that was worth more than losing some time in discussing some things. And I would say, and I think I would write again with somebody.
Where were we? So what happened is, I'm just gonna say what happened. I totally flew out, like everything was gone. What do we do today without an internet? Just saying, you don't have the connection, you're like, I can't survive. I'm gonna die. What can I do? So it was like a cut, and I want to go to your love cut, your feature film, because we're talking about a little bit before. You co-wrote it and you co-directed it, the two of you.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much for sharing the link with us.
Sure.
I started watching it and how to say this? I got a little bit like, I would say a little bit red. Like at some points I was like, okay, well done. Well done. Like immediately what I wrote down was, I was like, immediately, I'm just going to look at my notes here. It was visually so stunning for me. It was gorgeous. And so, and then my camera again. So we're sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on today.
Don't worry.
We're just going to take this off. We'll take it off. Is it here? Here we go.
Yes.
My devices are loving me today. This is like they're love bombing me today. Okay, but it doesn't matter. What I want to say is also it was visually just, it took me immediately in. And also it was so intimate. There was this intimacy from the beginning on. The camera, the way it was held. I immediately was teleported like in the world. I didn't feel like observer as such, but kind of was, which was good in some moments for me. Which I didn't think I would have that feeling. So I think tell us about Love Cut. Tell us about Love Cut's journey.
Okay, so in response to what you were saying, like the feeling of being there with it, like inside of the story, that was really what we tried to achieve. So I'm glad you had this experience. We just wanted to, for the audience to really be very close to the characters and to really feel with them and experience with them. And for everyone who doesn't know, so it's a film that was shot with like non-actors, teenagers. So that was a part of the process was working with them and going into this acting work that was, very truthful, so we could actually make it feel real and close. And so how it started. So after having written the film, we wanted to get like down the normal funding route, which was already happening for the writing. Like we got the normal screenplay development funding and project development funding, and we then started preparing for the last step, which is shooting and so on. And so we submitted for this funding, like production funding, and got rejected, which is kind of usual to get a rejection the first time. You can submit like 3 times, and actually most projects, especially by young filmmakers or not established filmmakers, get rejections in the beginning. But in our case, it was a real problem because the work that we had done before was casting all those non-actor teenagers through a really extensive street casting process. And we were planning to shoot with them in summer when they had summer holidays. And also they were all in those ages where a year later, they're too old. Like if you're 13 or 15 and then the next year, you're just not the same age anymore. Or very quickly, you're not in the right age anymore. And so we knew, and that was when we got the rejection, that was in spring. And we knew in a way, or we had the feeling that if we didn't shoot in summer, the film would probably just not be made. That's it, yeah. And so we decided to produce it ourselves with like no budget, and we did that, which was a bit of a roller coaster ride as well, and not really something I would advise to anyone to do it. We just did it and it was good. I mean, in a way, I'm really glad that we did it because there is obviously also a lot that you learn on the production side of things that as a director, it's useful to know it as a person privately. Also, even to just how to negotiate contracts with later on with like sales or whoever. Like it's important stuff that you can learn there. But it also took some focus, I would say, from the directing part, which I would say it's a disadvantage. But then at the same time, maybe we wouldn't have made the film. So I think it was a really good choice that we did that. And yeah, we found all those people who were happy to work with us and who, yeah, so we had a great team to make this film with, and in the end it was possible to make it all until the end, but it was also tough.
I can't believe that those teenagers were not trained actors. I mean, bravo to you guys, because wow, it was so organic and beautifully done, I have to say. Their art as an acting didn't feel like acting, which normally people that have trained enough are able to let go and be in that flow. How was that? Now I want to know more about the casting, because this is crazy. How did you get them there if they had never acted before?
So I mean, maybe 1 or 2 people had little acting experience before, but I mean, not in the sense that they were actors. So what we did was, first of all, obviously it was in the beginning it was a very open casting, and then when we had them coming over for casting, we talked a lot with them, so we found out how emotionally open they were, just in terms of like talking, and then we did lots of improvisational exercises already in the first round of casting, and so you see very quickly if somebody has the willingness to be open emotionally and maybe some talent. But I don't think it was so much about talent. I think it was more about also explaining them what we think or what we were looking for, like what type of acting, that in a way it's not acting, like it's and so they and everybody who understood could do it really well if they were emotionally open and willing to do it. And then we had with like people who we selected as people who we thought could fit some roles. We put them together in workshops that were a bit longer, and then we did some acting training, actually, like some exercises and things and improvisations, just to get them further and see who was able to follow all these steps. And then we did a lot of this type of preparation in the full process, where it was a kind of like an acting workshop that was not, it was not like about becoming somebody like another character. They didn't have to become like other people. They could still, of course, the stories weren't theirs, but they were being themselves at the same time. So yeah.
But from the outset, you were aiming at people who are not actors, right? That was a decision that you made.
Yeah,
or was it a mixed casting?
Because before, in the beginning, we started with kids or teenagers who were, all of them, no, actually the casting director started with the ones who had already acted before. And some of them were also really good, but then maybe not suitable for the role or in the, and the problem was that some theater, mainly theater kids, they were not, they were also good, but they were not doing what, or acting in the way what we were looking for. Not this naturalistic,
Right.
authentic, being in the moment kind of thing, but more like putting on a bit of a show. Even if it was subtle, you can always feel the difference, of course. And then we decided we will just really go for non-actors. And but it's still, I think it's a bit of a risk, because we mix them with actors for the roles of, most of the adults in the film were actors, not all of them. But and you can really feel the difference. We didn't. I think in some moments with some of them you don't, and then with others or in certain scenes you can feel that they have different styles of acting, which it's not ideal, of course, because then you become aware of, when you become aware of these things, it's you fall out of being inside of the story slightly. But yeah, so that was.
Well, I didn't. I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I do coach, as you know, and so I can be very watched like that. But the story itself was just so interesting, and I just couldn't stop watching, that I kind of didn't care.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glad to hear.
It didn't stop me, and I can be very, I look and I'm like, or I just feel it immediately. I'm like, oops, okay. But it didn't feel like, it did not take me out of the story, because it's just so well done, and the filming and everything. Every frame was just beautiful, I felt, and every frame was needed, and it was never like an unnecessary showing. It was all so intentional and deep. And as I said, it was also interesting, because I was having these moments where I was starting to judge. And then I was like, I don't want to talk too much about it, because people should watch it.
Okay.
But I don't want to give it away. But there was this moment where I was judging this young boy, the way he treated the girl. And I was just like, no. And then I see his situation, and I was like, okay, I understand now why. And that was so interesting too, this human experience of, and just realizing again, like this, how fast we're there judging something and just seeing it from one side. But I couldn't see it from his side, because he did it really well, obviously. It was beautifully done. And then I saw it from his point of view, and I was just like, and I felt kind of bad that I had judged him. That I had said even that, that's not the way you treat a girl. Like, you don't do that. So that was, and there are moments like that a lot, where I felt so connected to those characters, and we're talking about teenagers. Yet I really just felt like even this thing where it's the one scene is where it's about truth and trusting each other and telling each other the truth. And then at one point you realize one isn't. And how that hurts. So yeah, that's why it didn't take me out.
Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I'm always really hard on myself, or I don't know. Yeah, like
That's how artists are.
Yeah.
I know I'm too. I know I'm so. It's the same. It really is the same.
Yeah.
About being hard on yourself, you mentioned in our previous conversation that you did not less than 7 short films while you were
Crazy.
studying. And was it
Crazy.
2 outside of school, or
No,
was it everything was
that's
inside of
it,
school
more or less. No, within like throughout
throughout?
my life. Yeah.
How
So
did you prepare? How did this experience prepare you for the future, if at all, or is the future is like altogether a different animal that you cannot really be prepared for?
I think you can be prepared for it. I think in my case, I wasn't so prepared because there were many things that I started understanding then more than ever before. But it did prepare me at the same time. I mean, on one hand, it's like technically, like you learn some like handwerk, like tools, how to use them. Of course, with every film you make, you learn a bit more about the tools you're using, and then also in terms of working with a team, I think it's something that you learn more about as well the more you do it. But in my case, I think it also needed me becoming older and becoming more aware of things, and also interpersonal things with team, with actors, with whoever, with myself. Like it's also a lot of filmmaking is also what happens between people, right? So yeah, I think in my case it was also becoming more mature. Yeah.
Oh, it is still a great achievement. 7 shorts. Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Johanna's
they weren't
like,
all,
Just
they're
like
not, no, they're just not, they weren't all like big short films, Some were more like in the style of maybe if that a feature film would be, others were more experimental, and it's so, I don't know. Yeah, but I think most important is that one tries, like that you try to just do it once you want to tell some sort of story or make some sort of film, that you just kind of follow through it and do it, and then
Exactly,
yeah.
yes. Yes,
Hmm.
that's what I wanted to say, because
Hmm.
now for me, I did only 2. The
Hmm.
second is in the edit, and the second taught me a lot more. Like
Oh,
the
good.
first one, I was, I think, anxious, but like good anxious. I was excited, but like I was, also a bit of naive about a lot of things. The second, I felt more prepared, but then other things went astray, so I had to
Yeah,
take control on the spot. So I guess you're right. You learn with everyone, with every project that you pick up, also,
yeah.
and with people and everything. Awesome. Tell
may I?
us about. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just curious still about the shorts. I mean, you kind of going like
We're
it's
not
7
letting you off
shorts.
the
It's like
hook.
that was it. But there's so many out there that kind of don't get over that. Like you just said, just do it. Like, how did you make it happen?
I think one thing is, if you think like your next film has to become like the next cinematic masterpiece that ends up in Cannes, then you're already setting like such a high bar that you can almost not start. So I think, I mean, most people start like this, right? I mean, including myself, sometimes I have to really tell myself, no, you just do the thing just however good you can do it right now, and then you will progress anyways. Um, and so some of the projects, I just did it with friends, and I didn't, it's not like with a huge team, but I did the camera myself, or um, I edited myself, and we just, in a way, I mean, I did take all of them seriously, but not always in the sense that they had to become like a masterpiece, more in the sense of like, oh, I want to make this film because I really want to make it, and it's going to be fun to make it and to have it made, um, and then it's easier in a way to start making it. I think but then maybe at the more you've made, or the older you become, or the more whatever, then maybe you can become more, what's the word? perfectionist and say in my next film now, this next film I really want to have it in Cannes, but but maybe it's also, I mean, some people have it in the beginning and they do end up there with their first short, but it's just not my, I think it's not my way, that is not a good way for me personally to set the bar too high, because then I wouldn't ever do it.
Okay,
So it's different for everybody, I guess. But
yeah, I think that's smart. So that means you were just doing with like, well, obviously you're a photographer, so you have a lot of experience on both ends, as in directing and being able to handle the camera and all of that. With the shorts, did you like ever shoot with an iPhone, or did you like, or do you have cameras yourself, or did you rent them out? Like
yeah,
how?
no, I never. Sorry for interrupting.
No,
Yeah.
good. Yes, that's just the question is how,
Yeah.
like what I'm trying to get at is like the steps you took
Yeah. Okay.
to realize it.
So before film school, actually it was more difficult at that time to get hold of technical equipment.
Okay.
So even if for like a computer for editing and the program, and it was all still expensive. Also for my age, I was like 18, 19 when I did my first projects, and then so I just looked like, who can I borrow the stuff from, or I joined like some sort of like film club that was in the middle of nowhere, like at the end of the world. I hitchhiked. I always hitchhiked there and back, and I could use their equipment. So I could use their camera, and I could use their editing equipment. I didn't actually feel so thrilled about like being part of the film club. So I took advantage of their equipment, of them.
No shame in that.
Sorry,
No shame
sorry,
in that.
film
Sorry,
club.
guys.
Yeah. And then later during film school, of course, you have everything that you need. And afterwards, I think I did rent equipment, and some of my of my crew had, for example, like the sound recordist had his own equipment, and actually a cameraman also had his own camera. So that was also a good way of having technically what you need. But I could have also shot it on an iPhone, some of it. Other films not. It always depends on the film whether what it needs technically. Yeah.
Okay. So you worked on, it was collaborations in the beginning more with the short films.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to really, the most important thing is to find your team, and a good team, and then the equipment, you can find it, and maybe somebody does you a favor and you can rent it for less money than it would be. And all, I mean, yeah, I think most important is to really find the team members that you need, that you can do it with. Yeah.
And do you now then have people in your corner who you always go, like, let's say you want to, particular art for your film, so you know the person who is doing art department for you, or cinematographer, or do you tend to collaborate with different people and just find a new crew every time? How does
I
this
like
work for you?
both. I like both. The thing is, I mean, I have moved cities, so in Vienna, I had to find new people, and then from the last project to the current project, for example, I wanted to, for example, in my current project, I wanted to have a female cinematographer because I think it suits better. It's important for the project, so so I had to change cinematographer, for example. But then I also know that some people who I want to really work with again, but then then maybe with some I can't, because the film is a co-production with Switzerland, and then some people have to come from Switzerland, and then I have to, put other people on that roles. But in general, I think it's great to continue working with the same team if it's possible, and if it went well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gift.
It is beautiful. That's what Valeria and us were saying. It's beautiful when you have like a team they can trust and where you know that the values are, aligned.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
safe. I think that's something would be interesting to talk about, kind of, having you here. Like, what do you think about the safe space on set? Like, how do you navigate that world? Because sometimes, it can, it's a lot of different characters coming together. It can be a lot of stress, even if everything is pre-planned and it's a really good, it still just happens. It's film. The
Yeah.
weather, something doesn't work, something, just things you cannot control. Which can, for some people, it can be very nervous, like make them nervous or hard to be with, or, everything can happen on set. How do you navigate those waters as the director and producer of your project?
I think first of all, it's probably really important to be aware of one's own feelings and things that are going on. And I think it's also in my case, it's something that comes with becoming older. I become more and more aware of what's going on inside of me at the same time as it's happening. And so then you can kind of, with that, also navigate the mood or the spirit on set, because you're not just like letting it all out or whatever. Like, even if it's, let's say I'm totally nervous because I think we're having not enough timing and we have to, then I could express it, and then it's already easier for other people to work with me. If I say, I'm sorry, I'm so stressed right now, I just don't know how to handle it. It's easier for other people to deal with that than with somebody who's just like frantically, I don't know, doing stuff. So I think it's in a way it's a lot about communication and about awareness and about also probably being open to other people's feelings and to sense what's going on and to know how to problem solve or how to communicate what you maybe feel coming from somebody else. Of course, there is not like a huge amount of time to talk it all through always, but sometimes it already helps, if you can say, I feel something is not so good, like something is going on, I feel it, should we talk about it afterwards? How do you feel about this? Or I think there is lots of options, but it's always about probably being open and willing for the communication to be fair and open, yeah, and on eye level, yeah.
Are there any non-negotiables, like let's say, things that are absolutely zero tolerance? If something happens, then this person is out. And
I think the way that I'm not a person that works like this, that I would say, you did a mistake, so you're out. I would always at least try to solve it, and to speak with the person and see if the person also recognizes it as maybe a mistake and sees the potential for improvement or to change totally or whatever. But because I would hope also for people to treat me like this. But then, of course, there is extremes, of course, where you can say, okay, sorry, this is not acceptable. But in general, I would say before I would just kick somebody out, I would try to find a solution. Yeah. Or, it's even nicer to have the person say by herself or himself that she or he would like to leave. It's why would I have to kick the person out? Maybe the person could come to the word is missing, conclusion that could come
realization.
to realization that for this person it's not the right thing, and then that's also an option, But of course, I mean, ideally, I think directing is a lot about team leading. And so, of course, you have to really be aware of how to do this, and then some things you do them intuitively right, and then others maybe you don't. So you also learn along the way. And everybody handles this differently at the same time. So I can only speak for myself. I don't like actually this talking behind the back on set, and I thought for like my next shoot, I would probably in the very beginning on the evening of the warm-up or even before, say, look, if there is something going on, let's not talk behind the back. Let's just see if we can solve the problem like properly. Things like these.
That's a beautiful thing. That's also, I think, clear communication in all things is beautiful, and it's, creates, it's at least sets the right atmosphere, and then you'll see where you're going. And I loved what Eva shared with me on her last set. She said that the director kind of read out loud, his view of the project, right?
So
how the atmosphere should be.
He didn't. Yeah, he like had his. Oh, hi, baby.
Hello.
This is amazing because this is something we want to talk about too. So hi.
This is John. He
Hello,
can't hear
nice
you.
to meet you.
I know. Hi, John.
Hello.
And this is allowed to be, and this is
Aber der macht
exactly
Dirks,
something we
okay?
want to then talk about afterwards, Valeria, right?
Yes.
But yeah, on set, what we had was that he just had this speech where he really talked about the importance of safety on set, that everyone feels seen, heard, and that every single one has someone to talk to. He pointed out there were three, they had three, they were, accountable for that, like accountability partners. And I liked that very, very much. It was
Yeah, that makes sense.
it was beautiful. And also, Valeria, what you did, talk about that. I think that's also really interesting how you wrote it down and just sent it even beforehand, before you were on set. That was also interesting too.
That was, it came from the personal experience of working on set that kind of left me question how I should step up as a director and what sort of things and rules and, even safety measures I should implement for everyone to feel how I want to feel on set as a team member. Because as a director, you probably sometimes are a little bit, in a more privileged position. So nobody's gonna treat you a certain way, but then you're a member of the team that is questionable. And so I wouldn't go into a lot of details, but that was an experience that made me, more aware. I was aware, and also questioning how do I want to run my set. So I really loved what Eva's director did. She shared it with me later on. And probably next time I'll do the same thing. But as a person who is a little bit more timid, and sometimes I struggle, with like voicing things that I want to say and I mean. So I wrote it down. I wrote it down on the call sheet, and it was just I called it like a set of cultural kind of values and stuff.
Cool.
And it was just basic things. I don't think these days it should be common sense, but sometimes it's not. So I felt it's my responsibility as a director to just remind everyone that it's a safe set, everyone's is equal, and that we're doing the same thing, and we are collaborating and co-creating with each other. So everyone should be respected and should be treated kindly. Because it's like such a vulnerable thing, filmmaking, no? Everything can go wrong at any point. So we should at least strive to be kind and to take care of each other, and then the rest will just,
We have like in Austria, there is an official like code of ethics by now that is within the contract. It's part of the at the end of the contract, and you have to sign it. Everybody who is in the team has to sign it, and it makes a lot of sense because it already like crosses out some behavior that is just like not acceptable. And if any team member or anyone notices that the code of ethics is broken, then of course you talk to someone and you make sure it's not happening anymore or longer, or
Yeah, I now seeing your baby boy. I would love to go back to Love Cut. And you talked about that you in the post-production, you were pregnant, right?
Yeah.
How was that? How was it working? Like, also, that's one of the things that being a mother, and he's so cute.
He's excited about being in and out of the blur,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, there's out of blur and there's in the blur and he's out of blur. But yeah, that's exactly that. Like for your next projects, like Love Cut, you didn't have him, obviously, then you were pregnant in the post-production. But now for your future projects, like how will you handle that with children? Because I think it's beautiful and I know you're very creative and I'm very much looking forward to your next films and you have a few. How is that, like, how was it for Love Cut, for example, for you?
So I think when I was pregnant, I was just a bit more tired and exhausted, especially towards the end of the pregnancy. So but it was okay because we were in post-production, so I could even, in the editing suite, lie down on the sofa in the back, for example.
Yeah.
When he was born and the baby, we had still sound post-production going on, and I took him along sometimes. And that worked well because he was sleeping a lot still, and I could breastfeed him or I could walk out if but he was actually never upset or anything, so it was not such a difficult, and he was always welcome. But of course, I never asked anybody. I mean, in the sense of like, is it okay if maybe I did even ask, but there was no question whether I could take him along or not. It was just obvious that I could.
I love that.
And then in the meantime, I was writing mainly, so that was totally okay with having kids, because I could just arrange the time myself, and I didn't need to discuss it with anybody, or except for my husband. And but for now, I think it's still not very hectic. I think once we would move into pre-production, I will have to find a solution of like who can take over more of my time that I'm with my children, and I still want to spend time with my children, of course. But either it's my husband if he has time and is up for it, or it will have to be like a babysitter sometimes. And then, okay, Jan, aber du darfst nicht stören, okay? Du darfst das aber nicht stören. Und von mir besser wäre eigentlich, du würdest rausgehen zu der anderen. Ist gut? Okay? Jetzt bist du ja da gewesen. Besser nicht, okay. Okay, flitz mal los, ist gut? Nein. Okay, aber dann sitz einfach ruhig da. Okay? So, then I think, and once we're shooting, I will of course not have time for them, except for like on weekends. But and then I have to either my husband will take over much more, or my mother is going to come and support, or there is also an option actually to put it into the budget to have like a nanny. Of course, the budget doesn't become higher, so it will be taken away from somewhere else. But it can be an official place in the budget, the nanny of kids.
That's amazing.
Okay, Jan, now it's okay, okay? Ja, es ist gut.
Es
stört jetzt.
He loves the blur. He's just like, I'm here, I'm gone.
He's just enjoying it.
So this is like the example, right? So, I mean, you have to really, actually, the solution would have probably been, but I didn't find it, like a key to lock the door.
Yeah.
So I didn't find it, and I thought, okay, I guess he will not find me, but he found me.
He found me.
He found you.
Yeah. So yeah, but I think it's always possible. It's just harder at the same time. Like it's it's just takes more energy, but it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's also something to also, yes, it is harder and it does. And as now he's so cute and just loving himself. I love
I'm just ignoring him.
I love it. I think it's amazing. But
Okay,
yeah, that's what it is. So you do have to
yeah.
find solutions, obviously. I know that I think in Germany they do have like on set on bigger productions, they have like kindergarten or nannies or something.
Ah, wow. Okay, yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Of like kindergarten.
No, like
I
as
have
in
not
there's
heard.
like no, it's just I'm like kindergarten, but like there's a
A nanny
nanny or
for, yeah.
someone. Yeah,
No, I
something like
haven't
that.
in that like a shared nanny. I haven't heard of it yet. It sounds great though. I think it's
Or
a good
maybe it
idea. It's
isn't in
also good
German.
if
Maybe
it's
it's from
not
the
like on the set, but somewhere.
Now we know, yes.
Yeah. We have the
That is
proof.
hilarious.
Hey,
He's just
okay.
now like,
Es ist
Mommy,
okay,
now I'm gonna
Can,
take
ich
you.
bin doch jetzt raus, okay? Aber dann hör auf, bitte das machen.
Can I just ask you one thing? I'm gonna go, I don't know, this is just with Love Cut. I think there's so much for us to learn about it. Because you had on set, and we're talking about, code, ethic code, and da da da. And on set, you did have like love scenes.
Yeah.
How did you navigate around that?
It was before the time of having an intimacy coordinator. That was all, I mean, that was just before that was so common and known. But I think we were to us it was really important for it to be safe space for the like the love scenes to be made, filmed, and prepared in safe spaces. I think we talked with them a lot before, but we did a lot in preparation. We rehearsed not like every single movement, but still we rehearsed the scenes, and we always said like you also say when something is when you don't like when something you don't want to do it or whatever, dann du musst schließlich sie bitte, okay? Nein, das geht jetzt nicht. Sorry.
No, don't worry. Really, don't worry. No problem.
So, and then some of one couple, they became a couple, like during before the shoot still. And another couple were actually exes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that made it also easier for them and for us because it was more intimate between them anyways. And yeah, I hope very much that they would say the same. I think we really cared for them to feel safe. Yeah.
It felt watching it felt like it was a safe environment.
Yeah.
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 Tell us then about your new projects. Both of them sounds very ambitious and very exciting.
So one project that the one that is the first developed the furthest, it's a children's and family film. It's about a girl who has to find like her new position in a new patchwork family situation, who moves with her dad to his new partner's place, who has already who also has a daughter and a young woman with Down syndrome. And so the protagonist has to kind of, even though she really doesn't want to have a new family situation, she has to find her way in there. And in a way, deep down, of course, she wants to have like a family. So she will find it. And there is a strong sisterhood or a strong bond between the two girls developing that really helps her arrive at this new place and within this new family. And she also learns through another kid at school how to externalize her need for music. She has this like affinity for rhythms that she cannot fully understand and express yet. And through a kid at school, she learns how to express it more and more with that, because through that other kid she learns how to drum, and that helps her on her healing journey as well. Hey, Okay.
It's okay.
That's the one project that hopefully will shoot next year. And the other project, I'm not so far yet with the screenplay. I have a production company who would like to do it, but I just didn't have time to really work on it properly. Jan, du musst bitte leislich sein. Das geht wirklich nicht, sonst kannst du nicht da bleiben. Ja, weil das stört im Ton. Wir hören das alle. Ja, ja, wirklich. Mhm. And so I lost track. Okay, so yeah, and that's a story about end of life companionship, if that's the correct expression. Because I've been working as it's death care worker myself. I started doing it in a way, partly because I was personally interested and partly because I wanted to research for that story. And so it went hand in hand. And I think, and so it's about a person who accompanies somebody else who is dying. And of course, it's a bit more complicated and complex than that. But that's the other project that I hope that I'll be able to develop it a bit quicker from now on. And then hopefully, and I started to work on a documentary concept, which is about transgenerational trauma in women. That's at a very early stage, and I also want to somehow. But this is the thing. I think with children, you have to kind of accept, but that things don't always move so quickly. Some things move quickly, and then others you just have to kind of say, okay, it just takes the time that it takes. But hopefully, I mean, they are becoming bigger, and I think it will become faster. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you? So you said now that we have you here, what are you looking for? What is that you would need for the projects that are now in development? Or do you have, or do you have the team set up, or how is that?
For the children's and family film, everything is set up, because once you start applying for the production funding, you have to have it all in place. And the other two projects are still really loose, so I didn't talk to possible team members yet, or to also almost not even producers. And I'm actually, in a way, happy about it, because it's not at that stage yet. But so, I mean, I'd applied for some pitching opportunity. I'll see. I don't know yet if it will be possible. But so with the death care work story, I would love to pitch it and to see if it can, find some sort of maybe co-production or whatever. Yeah.
And maybe somebody that's listening, our beautiful listeners, and we're watching, if they're interested in working with you, I mean, are you open to that people just reach out to you and
Sure.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
No, I mean, it's always great to connect and to see it if there is chances for potential collaborations, or of course.
I mean, you do a lot. It's like you have 2 children, you are working now on 3 projects, and you're still a photographer, and a really good one, by the way.
Thanks.
Valeria and I were both looking at, all your work. I'm very impressed. And what I thought was interesting, I saw you done a lot of headshots. They're gorgeous for actors. At the same time, I saw you had notes up there.
Yeah.
And I'm just, how is that like from the female perspective? Like, what was the thought behind it? And it felt different. When I was looking at them, it didn't feel like nudes. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to. It didn't feel like it. It felt organic. It felt just beautiful. It felt like one with nature. So
I think that's probably always what I try to go for. It's to kind of somehow bring to the surface our like spirit. Even in the portraits and headshots, I try to really feel or bring across who that person is, or to, without like the wall, or the cool face or the whatever. And for those nudes, I think it was very important to me to somehow capture the spirit of the people who were there, and I think through connecting them to nature and to being in nature myself, it's much less of the shell that we usually carry around with us. It's who we really are in the end. We are souls in a forest, in a way.
Yes.
So yeah, and I think that was the goal. The project is still going on. I just haven't taken any pictures for it in recent years. But I still plan to continue and to portray many more women and bodies and ages and persons, and yeah.
Beautiful. So you said, so I hear ages, bodies, different types, women or men too?
Until now, it was only women, and I really like that. But I never exclude with words things. So I mean, I don't know where the project is going. Until now, this is what it is. But we'll see. Yeah.
And where it was shot?
In around Vienna, in different types of forests. Yeah, or places.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like mesmerizing also the nature, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, really nice. Please do continue.
Yeah. You're welcome to come for a shoot in the forest with me.
Valeria, she's talking to you.
Well, you're closely located, so I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
We'll run around with headphones and stuff and like naked in the no,
yeah. A friend of mine who lives in the UK, she actually, when she also recently saw the pictures, and she talked about, like, she had the idea of making like a book together, and and maybe, I mean, maybe it will happen. I would love to do that, together with her, to just like follow the project more, and yeah, we'll see.
What was the spark for this project? Yeah.
I don't remember. No, I actually don't remember. I wanted to just do it. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it is beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. This has been amazing.
It's a wonderful conversation.
Thank you too very much.
Amazing. Thank you for your patience with me, you guys.
Of course.
And my technology. I don't know what was going on today. And it was beautiful that, at one point it was the two of you. And
I
that
loved
is,
it.
yeah, me too. I think that's the beauty of it, because that is life. And that's, I think it's good when we allow children to be. And so, that's beautiful. But thank you so much. We're so excited. Where can people, so we will get from you that, to connect with you, it will be in the show notes, all your links. Where can people see Love Cut? Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, so can you provide us that link? That would be amazing.
It was also, I don't know whether it still is, ARD Mediathek, probably, or I don't know.
Yeah, if so, please let to our beautiful listeners, this is a film to watch. It was, I don't know how for you, Valeria, how it was, but for me, I was glued to the screen, and I was on this journey. So sorry.
I started watching it last night. I really, really enjoyed the beginning scenes. I'm gonna finish.
Good.
I haven't watched the full thing.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was beautiful the way how I don't know, I feel like with teenagers in particular, to work with teenagers is so hard. because they're so also blunt about things. No, like I'm a little bit afraid of this age group. I've never worked with. I always work with more like mature actors. So yeah, kudos to you for that.
Yeah,
through
thank
going
you.
through this.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. This was beautiful. We really appreciate it. We hope that everyone sees Love Cut. Everyone, please, please, please do. It is amazing. And it's going to be very exciting. We'll also have in the show notes, if you are an artist and you're looking for, because you're still doing the headshots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're looking for, you want to do headshots again, check out Johanna. She's amazing. I have to say, really do.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to coming to you because I'm going to come to you next.
Yeah, great. Good choice.
Thank you. This is amazing.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too very much.
Thank you.